All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Yes to Life podcast. I am your host, April A. Ross, your queen of confidence and rebel of joy. And I am so excited to introduce our guest today, Zach White. He and I have had a great chat, and he specializes in helping engineers who are in their career get out of burnout. And he's worked with leaders from companies such as Facebook, Apple, Amazon. The list is longer than I could go on. And he has created the oasis of courage. And I cannot wait to share more with you about Zach and have him share more about what he's doing. So, Zach, welcome to the show.
April, thank you so much. What an honor to be here. Love you, the work you're doing. Yes to life. What a brilliant way to show up. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. You're so welcome. Thanks for making the time to be here today. So let's just dig right into it because I like to cut to the quick. So tell me about a time when you hit rock bottom and then the aha moment that you had where you decided instead of staying there, you decided to jump forward and not be stuck there. What did that situation look like for you?
Mm. Yeah, my face slid along the rocky ground of rock bottom for a while back, about 5 years after I graduated with my engineering degree from Purdue. And I was a bright and bushy-tailed, a go-getter engineer. Had an amazing opportunity to build my career at Whirlpool Corporation. And honestly, April, coming out of school, I had the same ambition and drive that a lot of engineers do. And I only knew a couple of strategies to succeed. It was work harder, get smarter. And I started down that path. And unfortunately, that strategy led to a lot of unexpected negative consequences. And notably, letting the most important relationship of my life, my marriage, start to fall off the tracks.
Mhm.
And little by little, this you don't see it coming. I'm sure a lot of people's stories are the same. That slippery, unexpected slope towards the moment. And I will never forget April sitting in a room, big, nice wooden table, catty corner from my divorce attorney, having this conversation that was going to change my life forever.
Mhm.
And for her, it was just another day at the office. For me, it was the most embarrassing, just like, how did this happen kind of moment. And we can dig into why, but divorce for me represented the one thing that I never wanted to experience in my adult life. And I was so ashamed,
Mhm.
so ashamed. And all the career success really didn't matter in that moment. And it led to a really dark time of frustration and anger and depression and a lot of the emotions that are hard to deal with, especially for the logical, analytical, solving the problem of life kind of engineering mind that I had at the time. And that's where I was. It was a really just hard place. And coming out of that, you said, what was that epiphany moment or what changed?
Yeah. Yeah. What was your aha moment where you decided, instead of wallowing in this forever, how did you get out of that? What was that thing that drove you to get out of the situation?
The first catalyst to getting out of that place was when I realized for years, April, I had been keeping all of that pain, all of that area of my life that was not working, absolutely secret.
Mm.
I'd kept it to myself. I'd fallen into a pattern of isolation, and I've got this. I can solve this problem. And lying to myself, frankly, about how bad it really was and how much it was affecting me in all these different ways, spiritually, and my health and my mind. And I kept it all to myself. So the moment I said, it's time to reach out, I'm going to call my sister, I'm going to call my mom, I'm going to get a therapist, I'm going to get all the people around me, really start plugging in at church again, letting people know. I use the phrase, April, being fully known. I
Yes.
had not been fully known in my life at all as an adult. Not even my wife fully knew me because I was keeping all these things secret.
Mm.
And being willing to let people in was what changed the trajectory from rock bottom to what ended up being the best years of my life after the fact.
That that is absolutely pivotal. I find that what you're saying for me really highlights how much we need connection in our lives. And like you're saying, you're not being transparent, like you're hiding it from yourself, even thinking you
Yes.
can handle it. And then if you're not sharing it with anybody, there's literally no connection there. So when how did you get yourself out of it then? So, you're sitting at this rock bottom. You finally decided, okay, I'm going to start opening up and actually be seen, be heard, and connect. Like, what was the process like after that for you?
The mechanics of it were not complicated,
Mm-hmm.
but it required courage and commitment and a sense of willingness to face that mess, which was not easy in the sense of like, oh, emotionally, it just wrecked me. But it wasn't hard either. And like, Zach, just book the session. Go talk to the therapist. Do the thing, keep going, keep plugging in. And
Yeah.
I picked that core group, April. It was my therapist, my family, my best friend.
Mm.
We basically got together and I just said, hey, I need help. I need help with this. I need you to plug in. And I mean, even as simple as inviting my mom, to come up, and she brought me her old silverware, because in the divorce, I lost the silverware,
Yeah.
little moments like that to just be willing to receive help. People wanted to love me and wanted to help me, but I just wouldn't let them for such a long time. And so opening up, letting that happen. But okay, the mechanics are one thing, making time, having the conversations, really seeking professional support and letting that process unfold and take its full effect. But emotionally, and what really allowed me to start to heal was reconnecting for me to what I valued the most. Not just those relational connections, but
Mm-hmm.
my faith, my core values, showing up and making decisions around like, what do I really want out of life? And I think what you said earlier, I wasn't just keeping secrets from other people, April. I really didn't know myself either. I had spent so much time just trying to manage a horrible situation that I didn't have a vision for my life anymore. It was just day to day mitigate the pain.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the place where the upward spiral started to happen again is
Mhm.
now you've got the support, you've got the people around you, you have the connection and the love flowing back in, and you start to have a new space in your soul to have a vision again. And
Mm.
that's what I think really made a difference, by the grace of God that I was able to come out of that place with a lot of momentum and, thankful I had those people around me. But I think that vision was the thing that really created speed and velocity upward.
I love that. Everything that you've said, from reconnecting to your values and having a vision for your life, everything you say resonates so strongly with me because we have similar stories. I also, was in a marriage, got a divorce. Like, it was terrifying to admit to myself with two small kids that what I truly wanted was a divorce. And I tried everything to save the marriage. But I was lying to myself. It's like my life on the outside was just, it was everything everyone wanted me to have. And it was fake, but it wasn't what I wanted. So when you're saying getting back in touch with your values, what you wanted, and having your vision for your life, that really is, I'm like, that is the entire yes to life process. Live in freedom every day, right? The only way you can be in freedom is if you're in touch with what you truly want. So if someone were to come to you today, Zach, and say, oh my gosh, I'm in the exact same place that you were in, like, what advice do you have for somebody who's in that spot now?
I would look for one or two people who you are willing to go be fully known with
Mm.
and have the courage to go have the conversation. And don't overcomplicate the conversation, right? It's a simple thing to do. It's a courageous act to be vulnerable. I love, Brene Brown's work around this link between courage and vulnerability.
Mm.
But choose those one or two people, the people who've earned it in your life. Not everybody is deserving of your your whole heart. So be choiceful around that. I do encourage people, don't just grab someone who hasn't shown you that they really love and care about you.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel like you have that person, then this is a great opportunity to reach out to that professional, a therapist or someone who does this for a living. And I would encourage people to do that too.
Yeah.
But if you feel like that's a barrier or financially it's a challenge or whatever, still find that person and be fully known. And the way I would do that, April, is I'd actually ask that person for the permission to share. Hey, for me it was my friend Dave. Hey Dave, I got some stuff going on and I feel like I really need to talk to somebody about it. Would you be willing to be that person for me who I can just share? And I don't expect you to fix it or anything. Like, I just love to sit and kind of unveil some of this in my life, because carrying it has been a really challenging thing. And get them, I've never had anybody tell me that someone said no to that. But just to open that door, and in the coaching world, April, we would call that the container, just to create this sacred space where we can have the conversation and then just tell them and then let it unfold from there. I don't think there's any expectations, again, of what's going to happen. Don't expect a miracle in that first conversation, but I still believe people will find, if you've been keeping that to yourself, that first time you open it up, it's a freeing moment. I love that live in freedom every day, what you're teaching. To me, that's the first step.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really the most pivotal thing in the world, because a lot of the people that I'm connected with, and, my whole mission is to end suicide. And I think suicide it's a lack of connection. It's like all we want when we are in deep despair is to know that one person on earth cares what we're going through. And so exactly like you said, it's like, if you can find that one person who's willing to listen. And for anybody listening, if you don't have one person who you can really trust, crisis text line is 741-741. They're awesome. You do not have to be suicidal to send them a message. They are very helpful for resources. But if somebody's, how can people find you, Zach? Can you tell us a little bit more too about how you help engineers and what your passion and your mission is?
I would be happy to. And really quick, April, I want to add one thing. Your mission is so powerful in the world. And I just want to say in my story, one of the things that resonates or always was a barrier for me to reach out was that I never actually believed that my problems were that bad. I wasn't truly suicidal. I wasn't considering, ending my life personally. So I can't relate to the challenge of being in that place. But as the contrast of that was always something I struggled with. Like, well, I'm not that bad. I'm not in this place like so-and-so is, or I'm not. And so I just want to encourage folks, like, it's okay to reach out for that help well before you get to that place as well. Have the courage to take action for living in freedom every day. As for me, I'd be more than honored to share more of my story or connect with anyone. And you can find me on LinkedIn. It's the primary place I hang out if you want to connect, socially, digitally. If someone is an engineer or actually wants to consider or be a part of anything that we're doing at OACO, or the Oasis of Courage, visit us at our website. It's oasisofcourage.com. And a lot of the heartbeat of this story I just shared with you, that's the genesis point of where Oasis of Courage was born. And that's another story for another podcast, April, but more than honored to share with people. So yeah, please reach out. We have a contact form there. I respond to all of them myself, and it would be a pleasure.
Awesome. Fantastic, Zach. I hope people, and I'm definitely going to check out your other podcast episodes, because I'm excited to hear more about what you're up to and what you're doing myself. And for anyone listening, I can be found at april.aross.com. And coming soon, you can also find more about Yes to Life at yestolifeusa.org. Again, coming soon. So for right now, just hit april.aross.com. Or, reach out to me via podcast. I also respond to everything myself as well. And Zach, I wish we had more time. Maybe we'll have a second and a third incarnation of this, but thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to have you.
April, thank you for the invitation. And I can't recommend highly enough that everyone listening reach out to you. Don't just be a passive observer of this show. April is the real deal. So please connect with her and continue to support her and give her a 5-star rating if you love what she's doing here on the show. But April, thanks again.
Oh, you're so welcome. Take care, Zach.